Nashville Predators try to turn the tide tonight against the St. Louis Blues. Ann and I each have two things we think the Predators absolutely need to do to get a win tonight and get back on track. Plus, why have each of us been staying up all night perusing song lyrics? There's a good reason, we promise. We tell you that today on the Locked On Predators podcast.
You're Locked On Predators, your daily podcast on the Nashville Predators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for making Locked On Predators your first listen of the day. Every single day, we are your free Nashville Predators podcast that is available daily on all platforms. I'm Nick Morgan. I'm a writer and editor at ontheforecheck.com, and I have a partner in crime.
You do. I am Ann Kimmel. I am a writer and editor at InsideThePreds.com.
We got the St. Louis Blues tonight, Ann.
We got the Blues.
Let's hope the Preds don't have the Blues by the time this game is over. Predators coming in here. Of course, we've talked about it many times before on a 5-game losing streak. They have yet to win a game on North American soil this year. St. Louis Blues started 3-0, but have lost their last 2 games, including a loss last night to the Edmonton Oilers. And can I start with a hot take?
Oh, of course.
It's not Tuesday, but can I start with a hot take?
Always here for the hot takes.
I don't like the fact this game is at home.
Really?
Because I see this going one of two ways. If the Predators come out strong, if the Predators steal off a win, if they get on track, if they start throwing hits around, if all that stuff, if they play strong, they look strong, they get a lot of chances on net, that crowd's going to eat it up. The crowd's going to be electric. Yes. It is going to be a fun atmosphere.
Yes.
If this goes wrong,
oh dear.
If this is a repeat, Bridgestone Arena is going to absolutely tear this team apart.
I hate to say I agree with you. And I will say this. I do not think Bridgestone Arena should go all Vancouver on the Predators tonight, regardless of the outcome.
Yeah, I mean, they at least have a win.
For real, we've got 2 wins.
Yeah, thank you.
None on the continent, which, splitting hairs. But I really can see it. Like, I feel like this is the most frustrated I have felt the Predators fan base be this early in a season in a long time. And let's face it, last season was not all sunshine and roses with the fan base either. There was a lot of cyber kerfuffling for the last season over a number of things. But this, I mean,
there were fire Hines chants while the Preds were still in 3rd place. Like when they still were in 3rd place in the division, there's fire Hines chants.
Like you all, like my mom advice. I'm gonna mom anybody who's listening who's going to the game tonight. First of all, perspective check. This is not brain surgery. This is not, if the Predators lose, this is not like a failed international coup attempt. So perspective check. Yeah. But also, like, you gotta breathe. Like, we all have to breathe a little bit. Now, do I want the Predators to turn it around tonight? Yes. Does the concern grow with every loss? Yes, it does. But let's not throw jerseys on the ice. There's no need to roll the barbecue out at midnight tonight and set on fire your Rocco Grimaldi jersey, people. Like, let's keep it together. Let's keep it together, folks. Come on. We can do this.
although I will say this, if the Preds fans were to barbecue jerseys here in Nashville, that would be a delicious jersey.
You are not wrong.
Yeah, I mean, if there's anything the South can teach the rest of the NHL, it's how to do a good jersey.
Fact. Like, Vancouver's,
Yeah.
Like, no flavor.
We have a Locked On host group chat, and Jared Ellis from Locked On Canes and myself, we're having another battle over over Carolina barbecue versus Tennessee barbecue again. So
know your place, Carolina. Know your place.
yeah, exactly. So that's what I came up with. Yeah, we would barbecue in Mean Jersey.
Yeah. Whose jersey would they barbecue, though? That's what's concerning, because Heinz doesn't wear a jersey, and that's the name. Oh, it's exhausting, y'all. Fire Heinz.
Who's the meatiest player on the team? Like who would have like enough?
Yeah. Tanner Janot, because
it's a lot of lean though.
Yeah, but it's all muscles. So, like, look, when I was in 4-H and we were selling our lambs for market, it wasn't about who weighed the most. It was, I know, there's a reason I turned out the way I did. But you want lean muscle. And I think, if you're grading it purely on the lamb to market scale, Tanner Janot's your winner.
Yeah. So
disturbing that I know that.
Tanner Janot, the future dead lamb of the Nashville Predators. You heard it here.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this game first for a hockey standpoint, because we were talking about this earlier. It's like we are not exactly sure what the St. Louis Blues are yet. We talked about it before, where earlier in the season, where it's like we could see them maybe being the second best team after Colorado, but we can also see them maybe not live up to the expectations they had last year. And even though they're 3-2, there's a mixed bag. They have two players that have scored 6 points in what has essentially kind of been in 3 games so far. They got off to a hot start. A lot of their star players like Tarasenko and Braden Shen, Justin Falk, and Robert Thomas have gotten off to really good starts in those first 3 games. They went 3-0. And then it seems like they have had a very, very bad week this week. They went to Winnipeg, who's not a good hockey team, and got shut out 4-0. And then they went to Edmonton, who notoriously has a lot of defensive issues right now. And they only mustered 1 goal in a 3-1 defeat, and that happened last night. So, it feels like it's as much as, people are kind of crapping on the Preds and their run right now. We also can't overlook the fact that the Blues haven't done a lot right over the past week either.
Yeah, everybody, it's still, and this is a great example of, it's still early. People are still trying to find their footing. And I think that's true for the Blues. And the Blues are a team that I think, early, preseason, this is a team that I thought nobody's talking about, but everybody needs to look out for. And I think we've seen some signs of that, but we've also seen signs of like, okay, this team is definitely beatable. They still have some kinks to work out. They, again, lost 4-0 to Winnipeg. What's interesting is you look at these games is that they were all very close until about the third period. So they lost 5-2, or they beat, excuse me, let's be real. They beat the Columbus Blue Jackets. We're the ones who lost to the Blue Jackets. My apologies. They beat the Blue Jackets.
Reminder.
Yeah, just let's stay humble, Nashville. But they won 5-2, but it was tied 2-2 in the third period. And then the Blues kind of gained some momentum with that. Seattle was an overtime win for them. The loss to Winnipeg, where they lost 4-0, it was 1-0 at the start of the third. And Winnipeg just really outshot them by quite a margin in the third period and ended up with 3 goals. So these games have been close at times. Even last night's game, it was 1-1, and with about 6 minutes left before Edmonton went ahead, and then they ended up getting an empty net goal. So, St. Louis is hanging in there in these games, and they're all relatively low scoring games until something happens to kind of blow that open. Nashville be the team that blows that open. We can hope that happens. And of course, Nick and I do have some suggestions on how to make that happen. But, St. Louis is not blowing these teams out. They're also, despite losing 4-0, these are close games. These are games that, if Nashville can keep it close, St. Louis may allow Nashville to hang around long enough for something good to happen. So 60 minutes of hockey, my friends.
Shall we share some suggestions that we have for what the Preds can do to win this game?
For sure.
All right, let's do that in 1 second. We'll do that in a couple of minutes. First, I want to mention today's show brought to you by our friends at Bet Online. BetOnline.net is your number one source for betting football and the start of the new basketball season. You can find all the latest player developments, team matchups, news, podcasts, and in-depth analysis on every game. And as always, BetOnline remains your continued source for all of your sports wagering information, live betting, up-to-the-minute scores for every sport out there, props, odds, lines, everything you need to earn a little dough on the games. It's the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your favorite games and events. We mentioned football and basketball, MLB playoffs, World Series about to get going, MMA, boxing, golf, soccer. We got the MLS Cup. Let's not talk about Nashville SC, or for me, FC Cincinnati. And of course, the NHL. It's in full swing, which means betting season is in full swing. So head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. Bet online, where the game starts. All right, Ann, we talked some suggestions on what the Preds need to do to win this game. Each of you, or each of us, I don't know why I was talking from a third person standpoint, each of us have come up with two things the Nashville Predators absolutely need to do tonight to get a win against the St. Louis Blues at home. And would you like to do the pleasure? Start us off. What's one thing you think the Preds absolutely need to do tonight against the St. Louis Blues?
So there's a number of things, but again, we dialed it down to two things. And so my first thing is that the top line needs to have what I call a Goldilocks game. They need to not do too much. They need to not do too little. They need to do just the right amount. And I think we've seen the top line do both. Like they've tried the chair that's too big. I think there have definitely been times where I've noticed it, especially with Matt Duchene, where I feel like you're trying to do too much. You're trying to push something that's not there. You're trying to make an extra pass happen when that lane is not open. And I think in general, the team, just they kind of are, they're gripping their sticks a little too tight. They're doing too much. Then I think we've seen this top line do too little, where maybe they've stepped back and not been as aggressive in their play as maybe they needed to be, where they kind of sat back and weren't as engaged as they needed to be. Tonight they need to find that chair. They need to find the chair that fits them. They need to do just the right amount. You could see some of both of these, in the games that they've played so far tonight. Find that right amount, top line. Play aggressive, but don't force things. So for me, have that Goldilocks game. Find that sweet spot of hockey. Don't panic. Don't wait. And, don't wait for things to happen, but find that sweet spot where they operated a lot of last year and had a lot of success.
Yeah. You and I are on the same page, because I was going to say one of the keys is finding that balance between aggressive and careless.
Yes.
Because you want to see the Nashville Predators take chances. You saw it in Philadelphia. The Predators offensively looked pretty good.
They did.
Really good. It seems like it was one of those things, and we talked about this. This has kind of been a big thing on the power play this year. The movement is fantastic. Like, it looks as sharp as it did last year when the Preds had a lot of success on the power play. What's not fantastic, and the reason the Preds have been struggling, is because they'll try to make that cute extra pass to the middle and it's perfectly defended. Or they'll try to make like one more kind of touch pass and it just goes awry or goes out of the zone or something like that. Or they'll, try to make another pass that just gets deflected, bounces off somebody, it's well defended, it gets cleared, or they can't get a rebound. That's the kind of stuff. But that, as you mentioned, is fixable. That's the kind of stuff the Preds can fix. And I want to see them do that tonight. I want to see them aggressive. I want to see them try to get pucks in high danger areas. I want to see like that textbook Roman Josi cross-size pass, like perfect to an open guy. But I also do not want to see them force those chances if it's not there. So you and I are on the same page as that. Another one I had, Ann, my first, I think, big one that I have is you got to win the third period.
Yes.
That That to me has definitely been the Preds' Achilles heel this season. We've talked about the blown leads to Columbus and LA before, but you even look at those games that quote unquote weren't close, which the Philadelphia game, the Preds dominated for most of the game, but then you go back and you kind of watch the advanced stats. Philadelphia was actually the strongest they were offensively was in that third period. That's when they got the most sustained pressure. You go back to those 2 wins at San Jose, it seemed like, especially in that second game, San Jose really dominated the third period. The Preds have not come out strong. What the Preds are doing right now is it looks like they see the finish line. They're like seniors in high school. The finish line's right there, graduation's right around the corner. You sit back, you say, I've learned enough, and they've ridden out the rest of the year. Preds need to be those distance runners, those 5K runners, where they see the finish line, and that's their strongest run. They go all out. They know that they're not going to coast to the finish line. They see that finish line, so they know that they can absolutely gun out, use all their energy because it's right there. That's what we need to see from the Preds in the third period. And whether they have a lead or whether they're trailing in the third period, if the Preds can make the third their best period, I think you're going to see this team going on the right track.
Yeah, I love that analogy of the runner. You kind of just have to push through that last little stretch. And again, you said it. We haven't necessarily seen that from the Nashville Predators this season. And it's something we need to see. And I feel a little bit encouraged about it. We talked about this, I think it was yesterday's show, about the practices that they've had this week. The Predators have had 4 days off, which is, that's quite a stretch once you get going in the hockey season. But their practices have been very intense. They have to bring that level of intensity for 60 minutes. This is 60 minutes of hockey. This is not like 40 minutes, 46 minutes, 60 minutes of intense, high pressure hockey. And again, empty the tank in the third period. Empty the tank in the third period. I'm so here for that.
Yeah. Be runners. Don't be seniors in high school.
Facts. I've got a senior in high school.
Yeah.
I completely get that analogy.
you're going to have to show this podcast coming up in 5 months, something like that.
Yes.
Or should I not talk about?
Is
it going to illicit waterworks?
No. This one has been ready to launch since he was 4 years old and told me he was his own man. He does his own thing. So I've been prepared for this one for a long time.
So you're ready to launch this one out of the house.
I will miss him. He's delightful, but he's just ready. Yeah, you don't want to keep that kid at home, Nick. File that away for information you'll want later in life. No, don't keep that one at home. Let them fly.
The child tourists of Anne's children.
Oh, now I'm gonna cry.
Another thing, Anne, what is one other thing you think the Preds need to do tonight?
I think we need vintage Saros in net tonight. I think so much about what the Predators are going to be able to do in a bounce back game. And it may not be fair because I don't feel like all of the Predators' problems are Saros's responsibility. But I think UC Saros is somebody who has always been able to sort of give the Predators that little extra something that they've needed to win games. We need that Saros tonight in net. So he is 1-3-1, 3.04 goals against average, ouchie, 894 save percentage. Last season, when he finished the season, Vezina nominee, 2.64 goals against average, 918 save percentage. So definitely have a ways to go to get Saros back to that Vezina level. But again, we've talked about this. He is traditionally a slower start. Okay, you've had 5 games, UC Saros, and we still think you're wonderful. But if we can get some vintage Saros saves, some of those saves that, and we all know the ones I'm talking about, where you see the goal go in and you're like that one, I think that's what we're used to seeing Saros get. If we get some of those saves, I feel like Saros can keep this game as close as the Predators need it to be to pull out a win tonight. So for me, Saros is going to be huge. Or Lankinen. I can't imagine that Lankinen will start tonight, but we need just really reliable goaltending.
Yeah, and the Blues offensively, they have some guys that are off to hot starts, but as we mentioned, not really good in the past 2 games. And when it comes to the NHL, 2.4 goals for per game,
Mhm.
29th in the NHL. So they haven't gotten going. This may be what UC Saros needs to kind of
Yeah.
turn this season around. One more, Anne. I got one more, and I
Mhm.
think it comes down to a line that's going to be the key to the night. Let's do that in just a second.
We are going to finish telling you everything you need to know about the St. Louis Blues game tonight, including sharing some song lyrics that are going to be very important. Like, we're doing our part to help this happen for you all. So we're going to share that in a minute. But first, we want to thank you for making Locked On Predators your first listen today and every day. When you are finished here and you still want to hear some more hockey talk, you need to go and make your second listen Locked On Sports Today. Locked On Sports Today covers everything you may have missed last night, from the games that matter the most to the biggest stories across all the leagues, across every sport. You can go beyond the scoreboard and behind the scenes with local experts and local insight that only Locked On can provide. Locked On Sports Today, it is available on this app, it is available on YouTube, and available wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, Ann. I think the key to tonight's game in terms of maybe an individual line, it's got to be the herd line. This has got to be where the herd line steps up. And I'll tell you why. St. Louis's depth has not really been there this season. We talked, they have guys like Tarasenko and Shen and Robert Thomas. That line is firing, but they are struggling to get anything going behind the lineup. Pavel Buchnevich is on injured reserve, so that's a big piece that's gone for the Blues. Jordan Kyrou is not really representing or being able to reproduce what he did last year. Ivan Barbashev, Ryan O'Reilly off to cold starts. And then there's not really a lot of big names kind of in that bottom 6.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the Predators need to take advantage, is that line right there. It's Colton Sissons, Tanner Jeannot, and whoever is going to be on that third line, whether they move Yakov Trenin back, whether it's Cole Smith, whether Kiefer Sherwood comes back, whether they shuffle the lines, whatever it is, that herd line, that's got to be the line that takes advantage. Those are the lines that have to win their matchups. They haven't really done that before, and you've kind of seen it. Our friend Alex Doherty actually put out a thread on random names who have scored against the Predators this year. There's a lot of depth names on there, guys that usually don't find the net a whole lot or haven't so far in their career, that have come out with clutch goals against the Nashville Predators. Predators can't let that happen tonight against the St. Louis Blues. The herd line, that's kind of your depth line. That's your calling card. The guys you put out there to kind of win those bottom 6 matchups. They have to start doing that, and they have to start doing it tonight.
I agree 100%. And I think not only is it about on-ice execution when you talk about that herd line, and again, whoever it is comprised of, again, it is the identity. Set a tone with your play, set a tone with your checking, set a tone with your puck pursuit. That line is so critical. I mean, we talk so much about the top line and how productive they were last season, but so much about Predators hockey is that tone is set in the games, game in, game out last season by the herd line. And so I agree with you. You cannot underestimate how important that line is on and off of the ice. They're just an energy bringer. They are the kerosene you throw on the barbecue when you're burning your Rocco Grimaldi jersey. Like, they're the fire starters. So for them to come out and not only execute cleanly on the ice, but also just to kind of get that going, huge for the Nashville Predators. So, and I agree with you. Whoever's on that line, I would love to see Yakov Trenin get another turn on that second line. I really liked that combination for what it's
That was a really good combination.
I mean, and of course we all have a thing about breaking up the herd line, but they're not broken up. They're on a break. It's like Ross and Rachel. They're just on a break. So
for everybody involved.
Yeah. So I really like that. And again, whoever's on that third line, you're a tone setter, like, get her done.
Get her
Get her
done. I
done.
feel like
Get her done.
if there was one line to incorporate what the Preds need to do, it's right there, throwing it back to Larry the Cable Guy, which is a catchphrase I have not thought about in almost 20 years.
Oh gosh, it's very useful in parenting. Again, file it away. Get her done.
Get her done.
Get
All
her
right,
done.
Ann. So you and I, we came up with a new thing that we are going to start doing for our game day previews. We are perusing song lyrics because we are going to start doing our hype song of the game. These are songs that we think should describe the Nashville Predators' attitude, the message going into the game. It can be motivational, it can be threatening, it can be, as Anne calls it, angry sex music. Whatever it is, that came up on 2 different podcasts, let's be honest.
Okay, 2 times. Anyway.
Yeah, these are songs that we think are going to perfectly encapsulate the Nashville Predators message for the game. So we're kicking off tonight, Anne. Anne,
Yes.
your song of the game. What is your hype song of the game?
Again, I can't underscore enough how much time I dedicated to this, because I take this very, very seriously. And where I landed, full disclosure, I know this is not on Nino Niederreiter's playlist or anybody else's from the Nashville Predators, but the assignment is theme song. So I went theme song, not song I'm sure they're all listening to. So I get that, people. You don't need to message us about that. But for me, I found what I think is a perfect song to sort of set a mental tone, because so much about where the Predators are now, so much about where they need to go, it's a mental game. John Hines is very open about, mental toughness, mental game. And so I went with the sage advice and wisdom of Miss Taylor Swift. Players gonna play. And the haters gonna hate. Baby, I'm just going to shake. I shake it off. Hoo. Look, I get it. The start of this season is towing the line of potential dumpster fire for a lot of people. I am aware of the temperature among Predators fans on social media and different platforms there. I understand that the players are disappointed in their performance, and not saying that they don't have reason to be frustrated with their performances. But at some point, you got to shake that off. And you just got to go out there and you got to play. You got to shake it off. Shake it off. Hoo. So that is my theme song and sage advice for the Nashville Predators before tonight's game. Shake it off.
We were talking about whether any Predator would have your song in their actual pump-up playlist.
The answer is no.
I was going to say maybe at least one, right?
You think?
I don't know. It's upbeat.
Like it is a jam. Look, and I don't care who you are, and I know people have a thing about Taylor Swift, but if you put this song on and your toe doesn't tap, you are dead inside. That's just what's real.
Over under 3.5 Nashville Predators who bought Midnight.
Yeah, I'm going to say under. I just don't see it. I don't know. What do you think?
I would say it's right at 3.
Okay, give me one player that you think may have bought Midnight. I can't stand not knowing.
Matt Duchene.
100% why he's my favorite. He's not my favorite.
He's a songwriter. He's a singer.
He's a songwriter.
Maybe. He's got a love that kind of.
I think he's more like Waylon Jennings.
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot of Waylon Jennings, Taylor Swift crossover.
Yes, there is. Can you name another one?
No.
Like who else? Okay.
This is I feel like there's got to be more. Like there's got to be like one that we're not expecting.
Yeah. I think they should have, because look, here's what's real. Like Taylor Swift, don't like Taylor Swift, I don't care. Girl can write a jam.
Yeah.
And this is an anthem.
Somebody is listening because their wife or girlfriend have it. I guarantee that. Like I guarantee they're like singing in the car.
They're better for it. What is yours? I'm assuming it's not Taylor Swift.
No, it's not Taylor Swift. It comes instead, like I said, something that probably has a lot of Taylor Swift crossover from the world of professional wrestling. And
Oh, dear God.
there is a faction called the New Day. They are one of the best tag teams of all time. Their theme song, when they come out to the ring, starts with "It's a new day, yes it is," and there's like this like upbeat kind of like Southern Baptist gospel sort of like little chant. And the lyrics go, "Stop looking for who you gotta pay. Let it go, it's not worth the pain. Give the world a fresh coat of paint. Look in the mirror for who you gotta change. Get back on the right road, on the right track, on the right flow. Paint a picture, that's all we gotta know. Can't keep it back, gotta let it all go." And then there's a trombone involved, and there's occasionally a box of cereal and some pancakes. It was a whole thing. But I will take you to your first WWE event.
Oh dear heavens!
Yeah. But look, I mean, that's the theme song. It's like you kind of want it to have this little like upbeat sort of like positive, like all the lyrics are positive. It's about letting stuff go. Today is the day where we start over and nothing to do but look forward. That has got to be the attitude that the Nashville Predators have, just like your great American poet, Hendersonville great Taylor Swift told us, we've got to start anew. We've got to like cut off today from the past Preds, and we've got to take it forward from here. As he said, we know everybody is angry. We know the start did not go out, but there is still 75 games left to play in the regular season. Predators have to win 75 or like, winning records. They don't have to win all 75 games. They just have
We wouldn't hate it if they did, but they don't have to.
They just have to have a solid record after these 75 games. And then we can take a look from there and assess the team.
That's right. Yeah, I love that. I think we're on the same page. I think we both have the same vibe for tonight's game. You got to shake off the past and you got to jump in and start again. Let's do this, Nashville.
And I cannot wait to take Ann Kimmel to her first WWE live event.
I would love to. I've never been.
All right, that's going to be a future podcast, right?
Bonus content.
Bonus content. Well, hey, if you're listening to this, thank you so much. We appreciate you every day for making us your first listen. If you're listening to this via audio on your car on your way to work or sitting at your desk, whatever platform you're listening on, subscribe to us there. Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, you know the deal. Drop us a follow. And if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to hit that subscribe button and that bell notification. That way you will always know when we put out new content. And where can the people find your work?
You can find my work online at insidethepreds.com, and you can find me on Twitter. All choked up about our song choices at ANK_Mama on Ice.
Just got a little teary-eyed thinking about the New Day. I'm Nick Morgan. You can find me at ontheforecheck.com and follow me on Twitter at _NSMorgan. Also, while you're there, be sure to follow the show at LO_Predators. That's going to do it for today's Locked On Predators podcast. Again, thank you for making us your first listen of the day. We'll be back tomorrow with some Blues Preds recap.